Welcome back. Live picture from our Mount Wilson camp, the LA Basin. 54 degrees and clear right now. Christopher says warming up today to high 82. Disney's mega hit movie, The Lion King, has come full circle this morning, going from film to Broadway play. Following the success of Beauty and the Beast on Broadway, Disney execs are planning a Lion King show. It will all open next fall at the Disney-owned Amsterdam Theater on Manhattan's 42nd Street.
This country's first circus to feature exclusively black performers comes to Los Angeles today. It is the Universal Big Top Circus. Today, the show gears up for 16 days of stay in Southern California. The circus will be performing at Exposition Park from tomorrow through the 24th.
The movie Michael Collins is getting high praise in this country, even talk of an Oscar nomination, but it is getting thumbs down in Ireland. Critics say the movie about the father of the IRA alters Irish history. They also claim it's inflaming an already tense political situation.
Hope you have a great morning. Fast 90 minutes this morning. That's going to wrap things up for this morning's Today in LA.
The Today Show is next. We'll be back for the midday report at 11. We'll see you then.
Good morning. The expected shakeup in Bill Clinton's cabinet is already taking shape. As he looks now to a second term, word from the White House is that the president will accept the retirements of Warren Christopher at the State Department and William Perry at the Pentagon. Also out are the Secretaries of Transportation, Commerce, Energy, and Housing. Although official announcements are still to come, the president is clearly moving fast on personnel matters today, Thursday, November the 7th, 1996.
From NBC News, this is Today with Bryant Gumbel and Katie Curran, live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
And good morning. Welcome to Today on a Thursday morning. Bit of a foggy morning up here in the Northeast. We've got some rain. The president's
it's more
moving.
like London.
Yeah, it's a little bit like it. The president's moving fast,
Yeah,
isn't he?
doing some major house cleaning, I guess, in some cases by choice, in other cases they have no choice.
By demand. That's
Yeah,
exactly right. We're going to go to the news desk in just a little bit, and Matt will bring us up to speed on some of those personnel changes. Following that, we're going to take a look at some of the local initiatives, the propositions that were on Tuesday's ballot. Particularly, we'll look at one coming out of California, Prop 215, and Arizona, Prop 200. Both of those propositions allowing doctors to prescribe marijuana for supposed medical use. It's causing a bit of a stir. We'll talk about it.
Also, Bryant, another proposition, Prop 209, the anti-affirmative action measure passed in California on Tuesday, but already it's facing legal challenges by those who believe it is unconstitutional. We'll be talking about that as well.
Katie, we're going to get into the debate over what's called doctor profiling up in Massachusetts. Starting today, you can find out your doctor's legal and medical background, his entire history. You're going to talk about some hot toys?
Yes, some new toys that are on the market. We do that every year. Some of the greatest toys. And tomorrow we're going to focus on videos and books, but this morning toys, and I understand you like that giggling Elmo a lot.
It was kind of cute.
Brian's been playing with it all morning.
Giggling Elmo is a lot of fun. Tickling Elmo, we're calling him, too.
Right.
Gene Schall's going to be this Critics Corner. We've got our entertainment roundup, too. Busy day ahead. Let's go to the news desk. Get started with Matt Lauer. Matt, hey.
Hey, Brian and Katie, good morning to you. Good morning to everyone. Big changes are coming to Washington after an election that seemed to leave almost everyone in place. At least 4 of President Clinton's cabinet officials are leaving, perhaps as many as 6. NBC's Jim Mikuszewski has more on the post-election fallout.
The Clintons and Gores returned to the White House at a victory party thrown by White House staffers. But the president told them victory was theirs.
You have proved that with discipline, sustained, focused effort, America can be changed for the better.
But even as he celebrated, the president was preparing a cabinet shakeup to get his second term off to a fast start. Secretary of State Warren Christopher will resign. 3 candidates are up for the job. UN Ambassador Madeleine Albright, former Senator George Mitchell, and Senator Sam Nunn. Defense Secretary William Perry will quit. CIA Director John Deutsch moves into that top job at the Pentagon. Energy Secretary Hazel O'Leary out. Congressman Bill Richardson in. Transportation Secretary Federico Pena out. Chicago lawyer Bill Daley in. The president may also hire additional White House lawyers to deal with nothing but ethics charges against the White House. And in Air Force One, the president appealed to Republicans to ease up.
And I think what the American people want us to do now is roll up our sleeves, get together.
But with Republicans in control of Congress, the White House is expecting the worst. So the president wants his new team in place as quickly as possible to deal with it. Some cabinet changes could be announced as early as Friday. Jim Mikuszewski, NBC News, the White House.
So let's get a little perspective on all this from Tim Russer. Tim, good morning, first of all.
Good morning,
nice to have you here. Are these people of accomplishment moving on to other challenges, or are they people who are jumping off what they see as a possible sinking ship?
A little bit of both. Some are retiring on own volition, others are getting a little nudge, and some are being pushed.
All right, let's go down some names. You give me the quick assessment of each one. Hazel O'Leary.
Being absolutely pushed as fast as she can. She's been devastating. Everyone knows it. She is out, not of her own volition.
Warren Christopher.
Warren Christopher tried to resign a few years ago. He got off to a shaky start, but he's now 71. He will retire with dignity, and that's a mutual decision.
Defense Secretary William Perry.
The real star of the administration in foreign policy, but he'll be 70 next year. It's time to move on. What Bill Clinton wants to do, Matt, is have a new Secretary of State, a new Secretary of Defense, a new director of the CIA, and present to America a mainstream centrist foreign policy team who can articulate his foreign policy better than the previous one.
Mickey Cantor hasn't held Commerce Secretary position all that long. He's apparently going to.
He had been special trade rep. He wanted to be Attorney General. But Janet Reno's going nowhere because with all these investigations into Travelgate, FBI Filegate, they cannot change the Attorney General at this time. Cantor moves on to make money.
A couple of others talk about Transportation Secretary Federico Pena. There's been a lot of controversy around him.
Particularly his handling of the value jet situation. He's being nudged out.
The Chief of Staff, Leon Panetta. How much does that hurt President Clinton?
Considerably. Leon Panetta really got that operation in shape after a shaky start for several Chief of Staffs. Leon Panetta is going back to California to run for governor.
You're sure of that?
Absolutely.
All right. George Stephanopoulos is being a little coy as to whether he's leaving or when he's leaving. What do you think?
He's leaving. He's 35. He's ready for retirement. He's had 2 presidential campaigns. He wants to move probably to New York to do a little writing and lecturing, maybe a little TV work, and run for political office himself. My guess is from the Senate from Ohio or New York someday.
Got a few seconds left. Let's change the subject. Front page of the papers today, Al D'Amato says, no more Senate hearings into President Clinton's procedures. Why is he doing that?
Remember the Bob Dylan song, The Weatherman, Which Way the Wind is Blowing?
Yeah.
Al D'Amato reads the polls. Bill Clinton carries New York State by 60%. Al D'Amato's negative ratings are sky high. He's up for re-election in 2 years. It's time to make peace with the Democrats and independents in New York. You're going to see the gentler, kinder Al D'Amato.
Pure politics.
Matt, I would never say anything like that.
I know you. I won't put words in your mouth, Tim. Thanks very much.
My pleasure.
Turning to other news, the passage of California's controversial Proposition 209 triggered protests on many of that state's campuses on Wednesday. The measure effectively wipes out affirmative action programs, including programs aimed at racial and gender balance among students. Demonstrators blocked entrances to campus buildings and traffic on surrounding streets. In a California courtroom on Wednesday, a replay, jurors at O.J. Simpson's civil trial got a look at the videotape of a dramatic day during Simpson's criminal trial. We have details on that now from NBC's George Lewis.
Jurors in the O.J. Simpson civil trial have been hearing testimony about Simpson's wardrobe, specifically gloves and shoes. They were shown a series of photos of Simpson during his days as a football commentator for NBC Sports on the sidelines of various games, wearing leather gloves. Glove expert Richard Rubin testified that the ones worn by Simpson were the same type as the gloves found at the murder scene and at O.J. Simpson's estate. That led Simpson's lawyers to replay videotape of one of the most dramatic moments of the criminal trial, Simpson struggling to put the gloves on his hands. The sound was turned off, so Simpson's comment that they were too small was not heard by this jury. Simpson's argument is that the gloves are not his, that they were planted. In other evidence, there was a photo of Simpson wearing casual Italian shoes, the same type, according to the lawyers for the families of the murder victims, that produced the bloody footprints at the scene of the double murders. Simpson's lawyers say they'll prove the shoe photo was a fake. The trial now turns to the question of cuts on Simpson's left hand. Among today's witnesses, a Chicago homicide detective who found blood in Simpson's hotel room and a doctor who examined the hand. George Lewis, NBC News, Santa Monica.
In other news, college football's Eagles are flying kind of low this morning. 13 Boston College players have been suspended in a big gambling scandal. 2 of the suspended players are accused of betting against their own team. The others are accused of betting on various sporting events. That's a violation of NCAA rules. And in the NBA last night, a big contribution from Michael Jordan. Jordan scored 50 points, leading the unbeaten Chicago Bulls to their 4th win, 106-100 over the Miami Heat. He reached the half-century mark for the 29th time in a regular season game. A lot of people think he just did it to promote his new movie. 7:08, that's a look at the news. Back over now to Brian Katie.
Man's on a different planet.
Yeah,
really?
he really is.
Oh, Let's check out the weather. Mr. Roker, how are you, sir?
Well, feeling pretty good, although our friends in the midsection of the country getting socked pretty bad.
Oh, we saw that band on the radar. We saw that band of showers there. It runs all the way across the country.
Just about. In fact, we're going to show it right now. It is really pretty intense. As you can see, from Texas all the way up into the Great Lakes, heavy rains, 2 to 4 to even 6 inches. Eastern Texas, where they've got thunderstorm watches from Texas on into Louisiana. We're looking at those very strong storms. Again, going to be really rough there. That rain is all going to be moving to the east. We're looking at some really heavy weather here at the eastern seaboard by this time tomorrow. Out west, pretty nice out there. That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening in your neck of the woods.
Thank you, Al. In our neck of the woods, blue skies, lots of visibility, very, very clear. Look at the numbers. Downtown Los Angeles, 52 degrees. Toluca Lake, 50 degrees. Long Beach, 49. That 52 should be our low for today. These are the highs around the rest of the country. 48 should be the high in Chicago. And Denver, Colorado at 52. Chicago is going to be cool. We are going to be warm, breezy though, but warm, warmer today than yesterday. Downtown high, 82 degrees. Al, back to you.
It's 7:09. Now here's Katie.
Thank you, Al. On Close Up this morning, affirmative action in trouble. On Tuesday, California voters passed Proposition 209, which will amend the state's constitution to outlaw preferential treatment on the basis of race or sex. But just hours later, civil rights groups filed a lawsuit to stop the initiative in federal court. ACLU attorney Mark Rosenbaum filed the suit, and he's at our NBC News Bureau in Los Angeles. And Ward Connolly, one of the major supporters of the amendment, is in Sacramento this morning. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you.
Good morning. Good morning, Ms. Curran.
Mr. Connolly, let me start with you. Obviously, the voters of California, or at least most of the voters of California, agreed with you and wanted to stop affirmative action. What is the #1 reason for this proposition in your view?
I think the #1 reason is that we see no distinction between granting a preference to someone as not being discrimination and outright discriminating against someone on the basis of their race. And the voters of this state have said that we respect diversity, we don't reject that, but if it's for the purpose of discriminating against someone else or trying to give preferential treatment, they're one and all the same. And so that, to me, is the significance of the passage of Proposition 209.
Mr. Rosenbaum, we'll get into the constitutional issues in just a moment, but philosophically, what is your #1 beef with this proposition?
Well, the problem with the proposition is that what 209 does is it incapacitates state and local government from redressing racial discrimination. There's no virtue in being colorblind when racial and gender discrimination continues to persist in the state. And what 209 says is that state and local governments can't do anything in terms of race and gender-conscious programs that would effectively redress discrimination.
How does this violate the U.S. Constitution in your view?
Well, this is the most sweeping repeal of civil rights legislation in the history of the United States. What it says is that the unfinished business of eliminating discrimination is not going to be the business of government. The reason this is unconstitutional is because no matter how virulent, how prevalent the discrimination against women or against minorities, state and local governments can't do anything about it in terms of constitutionally permissible programs. At the same time, its practical effect is to move white men and white individuals to the front of the line. For example, there's nothing under 209 that stops the UC college system from granting preferences in admissions to students who are not as qualified, but who have alumni connections or whose parents have donated a great deal of money to the UC system. Those sorts of preferences are okay, but for blacks, for Latinos, for women, they're shut out from state and local government in terms of legislation that are beneficial to them and necessary to get rid of discrimination.
Mr. Connolly, might the end result then be preferential treatment for people like those Mr. Rosenbaum just spoke about?
You know, I find it difficult to understand how a person can construe an initiative which says that the state shall not discriminate against or grant preferential treatment to anyone is somehow discriminating and putting white men at the top of the pyramid. It just facially it doesn't make any sense. What 209 is saying is that every citizen is entitled to equal treatment from their government. That is the ultimate expression of civil rights. It is not going to set anyone back. It is not going to ordain any rights or confer any rights on one group over another. It is saying that civil rights are individual rights. They're precious rights for each one of us. They're not group rights. Groups don't have rights.
In fact, Mr. Rosenbaum, the wording of the proposition does say the government cannot discriminate against or grant preferential treatment to any individual or group on the basis of race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin. Does the discrimination line give you any kind of comfort?
The problem with the actual wording is that that wording wasn't accidental. That wording came after dozens of focus groups that Mr. Connerly and others designed to see what would sell with the voters. It is the dirty little secret about 209 is that it doesn't outlaw any discrimination against minorities and women that was not already forbidden. And I'm going to ask Mr. Connerly if he can name a single instance of discrimination against minorities and women that wasn't already outlawed. But at the same time, what 209 doesn't say is that it's all about affirmative action. That phrase doesn't even appear in the initiative itself, because when they tested it, they found that had a negative impact on voters. But the reality is that affirmative action plans that the United States Supreme Court have held to be constitutionally permissible, constitutionally authorized to get rid of discrimination, for the first time in this country's history, are outlawed, are totally banned in California.
Mr. Rosenbaum, I'm going to have to cut you short because I want Mr. Connerly to have the last word. Are you afraid, Mr. Connerly, given this legal challenge, that this proposition will never go into effect?
I have absolutely no fear about that at all. In the annals of history, they're going to record that in 1996, the voters of California adopted something that's the equivalent of what we did in 1776 when we said that all men are created equal. This legal challenge will simply be a small footnote in the annals of that civil rights history.
All right. Ward Connerly and Mark Rosenbaum, gentlemen, thanks again.
Thank you.
It's 7:15. Here's Brian.
All right, Kitty. Also in California, Proposition 215 won easy passage. That proposition allows marijuana to be used for medical purposes. Arizona voters approved a similar measure by a 2-to-1 margin. General Barry McCaffrey is the director of the National Office of Drug Control Policy. He's at the White House. General, good morning.
Morning, Brian.
You're on record as being opposition to these newly approved propositions. Specifically, why?
Well, we were concerned that it was a hoax. It was false labeling. It was posited as a medical issue, but in fact it was opposed by the California Medical Association and such distinguished physicians as C. Everett Koop, our former Surgeon General. What we had was no doctor's exam, no prescription for any illness, and not supported by the Food and Drug Administration and the National Institute of Health. So we thought it's really a stalking horse for legalization.
Is that to say that if they went out and got medical approval that you would tend to view it differently?
Well, I think we've got an open scientific and medical process by which any drug, to include this one, could be analyzed, and if found safe and effective, would be approved for use by physicians. Cocaine, for example, is a Schedule II drug that can be used by physicians. But I think what we've got here is our central concern is that young people are using drugs in double the numbers from a few years ago. And we know it's gateway behavior to later addictive problems in life. So we think it's a disastrous message to children and fundamentally in conflict with federal law.
But as you know as well as I do, with tobacco and alcohol, we consistently ask kids to make a distinction between what adults do and what they're supposed to do. Why not the same ground rules here?
Well, I think we've got a national process by which we approve certain drugs as safe and effective and legal, and others are banned as having no decent medical payoff, and that's the case with marijuana. So again, my concern is children and drug abuse.
You say no decent medical payoff, but supporters of these measures call them medical necessity defense bills, claiming they help patients ease pain of cancer, AIDS, glaucoma, multiple sclerosis. Do you dispute that?
Well, I think the California Medical Association does, and the National Institute of Health. So what we've got is a situation in which doctors, essentially no national medical association supports this assertion. We have an open scientific process, but I would suggest what we've really got going on here is a stalking horse for legalization of drugs. We have 3.6 million Americans addicted to illegal drugs, and that really is our concern.
Let's talk about the legalities involved here. Although the new measures make it legal to prescribe and therefore to smoke marijuana in certain situations, it does remain a federal crime. How will you proceed legally? Will you attempt to prosecute those physicians who prescribe marijuana for medical use?
Well, of course, the Attorney General, Janet Reno, and Secretary of HHS, Donna Shalala, and I and others will have to consult with state authorities and sort out what the possible ways to proceed are, but clearly no federal law or federal directives are affected by this referendum. In Arizona, I might add, what was apparently proved was the use of heroin, methamphetamines, LSD, and other drugs, again for allegedly medical purposes, and potentially the release of as many as 1,000 prisoners out of state system who had been charged with, quote, possession of these drugs.
So I take that to mean that you will proceed aggressively in a legal sense?
Well, I think we're going to have to listen very carefully to state government and then sort out in the federal system what we do. But the federal law is unaffected.
All right. General McCaffrey, thanks so very much. I appreciate it, sir.
Morning.
19 past the hour. Katie?
Brian, there's important news this morning about breast and ovarian cancer. It comes from two new studies. The first on follow-up treatment after breast cancer surgery. The second concerns a link between ovarian cancer and one of the genes that causes inherited breast cancer. Dr. Art Uleen is here with the details. Art, good morning.
Good morning, Katie. We have some very good news about the drug tamoxifen, which is being given to women after breast cancer surgery to prevent recurrences. Results of two large studies were released. They show that, number one, tamoxifen does reduce the recurrence rate. Women who received tamoxifen for 5 years were 69% survival rate at 10 years compared to 57% for women who did not receive the drug. We also, more good news, you only have to take it for 5 years. It also reduced the risk of cancer in the other breast by 40%.
That is exciting news. Now, after 5 years, the benefits decrease? And the risk increase?
Well, what happens is there's some complications that begin to arise after 5 years. The good news is we used to think that women would have to take this drug for the rest of their life. The studies now suggest they can quit after 5 years and the benefits persist. It's real good news.
You also have some news about the inherited form of ovarian cancer and the link to the inherited form of breast cancer?
Yes, the gene, BRCA1 it's called, is a gene that is supposed to retard the development of cancer. We know it's related to the development of breast cancer, and women who inherit this gene from their mothers have a much higher risk of ovarian cancer. When you inherit the gene, it's in every cell in your body. I need to point out that only 5 to 10% of ovarian cancers are inherited. The overwhelming majority of them, the gene mutates, and it develops instead only in the ovary. Here's the difference in survival between the two groups. In women who inherited the gene, the upper line shows their survival rate, and what we've learned is that at 7 or 8 years, 50% of these women are likely to be alive, whereas in women who develop the non-hereditary form, only 15% will be alive in 7 or 8 years. So the good news is, if there is good news about this, the women who inherit the gene appear to have a different form of ovarian cancer, much less aggressive.
Should women and can women be tested for this abnormal gene?
Very controversial, because we can't tell an individual woman what her risk will be. Perhaps women who have a very strong history of breast cancer or ovarian cancer should have it done. They must have genetic counseling, though, if they do this.
All right. Dr. Art Uleen. Art, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
And we're back in a moment. This is Today on NBC.
Tonight at 5, only on the Channel 4 News. You're stopped by a cop. It can cost you a fortune, or you can get off scot-free. Paul Moyer hits the road with experts to show you how to avoid a traffic ticket at 5. And at 11, wait till you see how these crooks got busted. We're not saying they're dumb.
Yeah, he was really embarrassed.
But you be the judge.
I just caught him.
It's a lineup you won't believe. Watch How to Avoid a Traffic Ticket tonight at 5 and Crooks Without a Clue tonight at 11, only on the Channel 4 News.
Are we there yet? No. Is this it? No. This is it.
It's the Office Max Tri-Max Super Center.
Wow.
3 Maxes in 1.
It's like nothing you've ever seen before.
An Office Max with over 7,000 products. Office furniture aplenty and Furniture Max and Copy Max, a complete printing center.
Everything under one roof.
California is where dreams come true. Hello. Visit the new Office Max Tri-Max Super Centers.
Monsters stole the talent from the NBA players.
Forget the season. Time to play a little basketball.
Forget the playoffs.
Forget the finals. On November 15th, there's only one basketball game that counts. Michael Jordan,
Bugs Bunny and the NBA's best in a comedy of epic proportions.
Perhaps I could be of some assistance.
Space Jam. Rated PG. Starts Friday, November 15th.
At this year's Mercedes Championships, you could win a LaCosta Edition SL 500. Your chances of winning are roughly 1 in a million. Make that 1 in 999,999. See your Southern California Mercedes-Benz dealer for details. Take a test drive and get 2 free tickets to the Mercedes Championships. Don't worry, good weather's expected.
Here we go. Starting today in Massachusetts, they're starting this doctor profiling, really controversial.
Yeah, I imagine doctors don't like it too much.
Well, actually, the doctors' organization up there is supporting it, and that's caused an internal debate. You can find out everything you need to know about your doctor. We'll get into it after a station break.
When you get up this early, you need real coffee. Folgers Coffee Singles. Real mountain-grown coffee in a real coffee filter for one freshly brewed cup. Folgers Coffee Singles. Because real coffee makes real good mornings.
Not just snack cake with a new attitude. Because taste is hot, that is not. Want a new twist on lemon? Pucker up. Sweet rewards. Desserts with an attitude. New from Betty Crocker.
This much dirt is a nightmare without Eureka's Dream Machine, the steam cleaner with a full-width motorized brush roll for deep-down fiber cleansing. Powerful suction to dry carpets quickly. Tools on board for above floor. The Dream Machine from Eureka.
Tonight, one last hope for a dying family. An episode you'll never forget. ER, NBC Tonight.
Together for 3 incredible nights, Kenny G. And Tony Braxton. December 21st at Arrowhead Pond of Anaheim. And December 27th and 28th at Universal Amphitheater. It's Kenny G. Together with the power, passion, and soul of Tony Braxton. Tickets Sunday morning at the respective box offices. Ticketmasters are charged. Nobody does it better together. Kenny G and Tony Braxton.
Celebrate 60 golden years with Stater Brothers this week. Best value pack ground beef is a low 79 cents a pound. Select from 11 tasty varieties of banquet frozen meals, just 89 cents. Fairchild tangerines are 33 cents a pound, and regular or diet 7-Up in the 12-pack is a low 199. Limit 5 cases, please.
In the heartland of California, in the heartland, Stater Brothers.
Did desperation drive her to murder just to steal this baby?
Now, Today in L.A. at 7:26 with Kent Shocknet.
The Pacific Ocean just beyond LAX. A very good morning to you. The plane's coming in and heading out. Nice picture to start things off. Here's what's happening. 3 people, including a pregnant woman, recovering from injuries this morning after a gang fight at a movie theater in Lakewood. Sheriff's deputies say the fight broke out during a screening of the film Set It Off. Shots were fired, but no one was hit. No arrests have been made. About 300 people were watching the movie when the fight erupted. We will follow up. We'll get any late details on our midday report at 11 this morning. Now, what a beautiful, clear morning it is. Christopher, I don't know what you're doing, but whatever it is, just keep it up, pal.
I tell you, it's the old dead chicken above the head routine. No, just kidding. Leave that chicken alone, sir. Here we go. You can see the pollutants have been pushed out over the ocean, so most of Southern California's got good to moderate air quality. Avalon's got great air quality because the pollutants don't make it that far out. All right, look at the numbers. Downtown, 54. Hermosa Beach, 53, 55 for Studio City. And the maps are in motion. High pressure has cut out a large swath, meaning Southern California is going to stay high and dry and warm for a while. One dead chicken. Back to you. See you later.
Love those large swaths, Christopher. Thanks very much. A stalled catering truck has gummed things up for the better part of the rush hour this morning. Let's check in on your commute with Paul. Paul?
That is still there. The signal still in effect. Northbound of the 605, it's just past Rose Hills Road. That catering truck still stalled out in the right-hand lane. Now, that is slowing you all the way back to the Santa Ana Freeway. And a little trouble on the 101 freeway. This is northbound 101, just past Moore Park Road. Multi-vehicle injury collision in the center divider of the right shoulder. Drive carefully. Kent, back to you.
Paul, funeral arrangements are pending this morning for one-time Berkeley student radical Mario Savio. Savio led demonstrators in the so-called free speech movement of the 1960s. Most recently, he was teaching math at Sonoma State University. Over the weekend, Savio suffered heart failure. He died last night at the age of 53. In sports, the Mighty Ducks lost at home yesterday. The Lakers fell for the first time this season. Today, the Kings are on home ice. They're skating against Montreal. Now, make a note of this. We're going to show you where to find LA's best healthy Mexican food tomorrow morning on Today in LA. That'll be before 7. Right now, it's 7:28. We're right back. We're going to check the view for you live in downtown Los Angeles.
This news update is sponsored by Marshall's. Marshall's has brand names for less every day.
Me? Worry about the holidays? Maybe next week.
Why wait for holiday sales? Decorate your home for 20 to 50% less right now at Marshall's.
Well, I could pick up a few things.
The latest in holiday motif collectibles, confections, and decorations are here today.
That's a nice gift.
Better shop early. The best holiday bargains go fast.
I'm beginning to think that last-minute shopping is way overrated.
Marshall's, brand names for less.
Every day.
Last check, stocks unchanged. Pasadena's other parade, the Doodah Parade, has decided to have a queen of its own. Tryouts for the first ever Doodah Royal Court will be held this afternoon. The Doodah Parade began in 1978 as a sort of a spoof on the Tournament of Roses parade. Our bargain king, Doug Kriegel, is hot on the trail of some real money savers this morning on our midday report at 11. I'm Ken Schocknick. Hope you have a fabulous day.
Tonight at 6, it's where a pregnant Demi Moore goes to be photographed. Not to mention Jennifer, Tom, Madonna, and Mr. President himself. At 6, get ready for your close-up. We're taking you behind the scenes of Hollywood's hottest photography studio. Tonight at 6.
On the next Extra, the steamy, X-rated past of this X-Files star.
In all full frontal glory.
Plus, he gave his dogs to a loving home, but they were sold for animal research. The rescue on Extra.
Tonight at 7, here on NBC 4.
On the next Access Hollywood, the newest aliens invading Hollywood.
We're back at 7:30 on a drizzly Thursday morning here in New York City and throughout the Northeast. Would drizzly apply to today? Is it going to be basically rainy?
No, drizzly, foggy, misty.
Ooh. Kind of a different crowd this Do I have to go out there? They've been yelling for you all
There's
morning.
some very strange characters out there.
Yeah, Peter Pan, I think, was out there, Alan.
Yeah, and Winnie the Pooh was out there.
Yeah, I
also.
did. I saw Winnie the
I don't know
Pooh
what that
earlier.
rutabaga-like thing is. That's...
Right there?
Yeah.
I think it's a leak. What do you think?
Okay.
Well, maybe not a leak.
Oh, he wants you,
He likes
baby.
you, though. He wants
goody.
you, baby.
Oh,
He likes you.
Nice beak.
And there's the rest of the group. That's the ones we were asking about. Snow White. And
Is that
Peter?
Snow White?
I think that's.
No, I don't think
Is that
Snow
Peter
White.
Pan? And who's that? Is that Bozess? Is that not Bozo? Is that Bozo's girlfriend? Bozo?
I'll go out and find it.
I figured you would. Okay, let's bring it inside, Joey. It's a little safer. Here along with Katie Couric, Al Roker. I'm Brian Gumbel. They're starting a controversial new measure is getting underway in Massachusetts. Starting today. It's called profiling. You can call an 800 number and get background information on your doctor, his medical history, his legal history, the times he's been sued for malpractice, how it was settled, et cetera, et cetera. It's causing a whole lot of flap up there. Doctors are right in the middle of it. We'll talk to a few of them. Katie?
Also, Lynn Berman is here with another collection of odd moments in sports. And Gene Shalit has a review of Ransom, the new Mel Gibson film that opens tomorrow.
Okay, let's go on to the news desk. Here's Matt.
Okay, folks, thanks very much. Good morning, everyone. Secretary of State Warren Christopher is expected to announce his resignation today as President Clinton begins building a new cabinet for his second term. Mr. Clinton returned to Washington in triumph on Wednesday, greeting his staff and hundreds of appointees. Among others expected to leave the administration, Secretary of Defense William Perry, Energy Secretary Hazel O'Leary, and Transportation Secretary Federico Pena. New York Senator Alphonse D'Amato urged fellow Republicans Wednesday to forget about more investigations of President Clinton. D'Amato chaired the Senate Whitewater hearings last year. Prosecutors in the O.J. Simpson civil trial will continue today to try to link O.J. Simpson to the now infamous bloody gloves and Italian shoes. On Wednesday, jurors viewed photos of Simpson wearing gloves similar to those entered as evidence in the criminal trial. They also viewed a picture of Simpson wearing shoes the plaintiffs claim created the bloody footprints at the murder scene. Actor Robert Downey Jr. faces a choice: stay clean for at least 3 years or go to jail. A judge in Malibu, California, put Downey on 3 years probation and told him he has to spend 3 more months in a live-in rehab program. Downey was arrested 3 times during the summer on various drug and weapons charges. 7:32, that's a look at the news. Time to go outside for Al and the weather.
Today's weather is brought to you by Yoplait. Yoplait really creams yogurt.
Hey, well, okay, what's the deal here?
Hi, I'm from Reading is Fundamental, and we're getting together with Visa to do the Read Me a Story campaign. We're making sure over 1 million stories are read to kids between now and Christmas time and getting them excited to read.
Okay, so this is Peter Pan.
Yes.
Who's this?
This is Mother Goose.
Oh, Mother Goose! Oh, how are you? Good to see you. Winnie the Pooh.
Yes.
And an Izod shirt?
Lyle Crocodile.
Lyle Crocodile. Okay. Well, thank you very much. And you guys are going to be going around the country in a big old bus?
61 cities around
That's
the country.
great. Well, thanks for being here with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I got, what the heck is this thing over here? What is this? It's a...
DreamWorks Interactive's first CD-ROM. They're having their world premiere today at the Virgin Megastore.
Okay, what is this thing?
This is Clayman. He's the main character of
Clayman?
the CD-ROM.
Clayman, good to see you. Clayman, by Flavor, it's Clayman. Whoa, Clayman, nice to see you. Nice lady, let's check it out. Whoa, Clayman. Possible delays here in the east, LaGuardia, Detroit, Indianapolis, St. Louis, rain or fog. It's going to be a real mess out there. Check with your airline. Strong storms today, Texas on into the Gulf Coast, and there could be some tornadoes with these. Watch out. Some rain in the northwest with snow in the mountains there. That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening in your neck of the woods. By Flavin. Whoa, it's Uncle Willie. Whoa, nice Uncle Willard. Whoa, by Flavin. Hey, pardon? Well, thank you so much. Well, look at that little boy there. Nice child. Little girl. Sorry, the blue threw me. That's what did it. But then you got the pink ribbons there. You're so cute. She's like my daughter. My daughter had no hair until she was 3. You know, it was great. Now it's down to her back. Not on her hair, just on her back. Okay, thank you. All righty, that's what's going on. Now let's head on down to Washington and Uncle Willard.
Hello.
How are you?
Hey, you look pretty good. Is it as nice up there as it is down here?
Well, it's mild, but it's very, very foggy and misty.
Well, you can see out here behind me. That's the National Presbyterian Church in the background. I guess you can see it. Anyway, it's pretty. We had a little bit of groundfall, but it is so pretty. And 61 degrees, it is gorgeous. But they say maybe snow here for the weekend. Flurries, anyway. So that I would say you might have some up there, too. What do I know? Who cares? Check with the woolly worm. This is, I tell you, it gets better every day. Every time I go up there, Chicago. What a toddling town. Unbelievable food. The lake effect, as they say, is getting prettier all the time. Congratulations. Celebration at home to benefit the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. And it started when? Yesterday? And goes through the 9th this weekend. It's Merchandise Mart. Check it out. Food and all the good things for the Christmas holidays. You can buy it. Money goes to the symphony. Carrie Hardwick, happy birthday from Smuckers, 109. Pretty as a picture from Houston, Texas. Sunday school teacher for 75 years. C. Fred Miller. C. Fred Miller, look at the TV camera there. 100 years old from Las Cruces, New Mexico. Veteran of WW1 and a basketball fan. And Margaret O'Rourke, she has, from St. Paul, Minnesota. You know that half of St. Paul's Irish. 100 years old today, and she's a native of St. Paul, loved by her family. You know, you're talking about the Swedes and the Norwegians. Did you know that, Katie? Up in Minnesota, St. Paul, half the town is Irish. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. I'm surprised to hear that, Willard.
That's Irish. Currick, isn't
No,
it?
no. Actually, it's a Breton name. It's from Brittany. It's French.
Oh, well, close.
Whatever. But Willard, you look very handsome today.
Well, thank you, darling. It's my cheap coat, but my love's still for you.
Well, you wear it well. Thanks, Willard.
Thank you.
We're a week into the new month, and it's time for Len Berman of WNBC TV here in New York to bring us some of last month's strange little moments in the world of sports. Take it away, Len.
Thank you, Katie. You know, October featured the start of the hockey season, some college and pro football, and lots of New York Yankees. But what were truly the top sports stories of the month? Let's go spanning the world.
It's Spanning the World.
All right, on your mark, get set, and on the kickoff, you try a trick play at Ole Miss. You gather up, and who's got it? The play may not be old, but it does miss. Our oopses of the month. Kicker Al Del Greco calls timeout, and his center didn't notice.
Oh.
In hockey, it's Landon Wilson of Colorado. Timeout to find the puck. After a considerable delay, it drops out of his shorts. So, tee it up. The unique driving maneuver. Tom Jones does not hit the wall. He just drives along on top of it. pass him on the inside. I thought this was the putt of the month at the Texas Open. He's David Ogren. And it doesn't quite work out. He had a triple bogey 6, and would you believe, after all of this, he still won the tournament. So that did not deter him at all. Now, here's how it works with the new Phoenix Coyotes team. You score a goal, and the PA system howls. That could get a little tiresome. Our new sport of the month in upstate New York. Stroke. Charging right along. And this is canoe water skiing. Tearing along at 1 knot an hour. There he goes. Maybe this works out better. The latest in Christmas gifts from England. Katie, this is for the biggest couch potato sports fan you know. And he's off. In his motorized lazy boy. Go get it. That works out. Give him a little portable TV. I don't know if it reclines. Good question. Oh, the harshest sentence. That's given out in the NFL.
Number 23 on the defense. Penalized 5 years.
But you get time off for good behavior. The show must go on when Monmouth of New Jersey hosted Towson State in a monsoon gives new meaning to standing water and being on the bench. And to keep you guessing the distance, they have floating yard markers. And Al did predict that rainstorm, so it worked out well. The latest in commercialism, the hockey fights in Pittsburgh are sponsored. This is the Arby's Beef of the Game. True. Opens up all sorts of possibilities. This expectoration could be the Listerine spew of the game. Or the constant baseball scratching. That could be brought to you by flea and tick powder. Yeah, that would work out pretty good.
Tune in next time for Spanning the World. If there is a next time, I'm Don Pardo.
Come to think of it, you might consider having some commercials on the Today Show once in a while.
Yeah, like what? Can you think of any?
I don't know.
I'm sure we could come up with a few. All right, Lynn, thanks a lot. Up next, the flap over opening doctor's files to the public in Massachusetts. That's right after this.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see.
Feeling safe, being secure. It's why more families rely on Buick LeSabre than any other full-size sedan. Peace of mind from LeSabre.
Any yogurt can help strengthen your bones. Only YoPlay can make you go weak in the knees. So rich, so luscious, so satiny smooth all the way through. YoPlay really creams yogurt.
She craves that taste, that big, bold cranberry taste, that one-of-a-kind ocean spray taste.
To infinity and beyond!
Leap into the world of Toy Story with free Buzz and Woody cups from Ocean Spray. Buy any 2 Ocean Spray products and Disney's Toy Story video and get both cups free. Share the fantasy. Crave the wave.
You need
funds. You need to diverse.
While everyone else is telling you which funds to buy,
small cap funds. I'd be looking at the Pacific Rim.
here's a tip on how to buy them. Mutual Fund One Source from Charles Schwab. The funds you want in one place, all with no loads. If your fund doesn't say this, maybe you're making life too complicated. Call now for 6 months of our Mutual Fund Select list free.
What would you call a carpet store with more colors and styles of DuPont Stainmaster carpet? More expert advice and personal service. More than 750 locations across North America. Now, what if that carpet store gave you less to worry about with one of the best guarantees in the business? Plus, no payments, no interest for 6 months, and such huge buying power you're assured of paying less. You'd have to call that one great carpet store, or Carpet One, where you always get more and less. Call now.
Your doctor knows everything about you, but why can't you find out about his or her past record? Are there malpractice claims, criminal convictions? Don't miss NBC Nightly News tonight.
Today, Massachusetts has become the first state in the country to open the files of its physicians, making it easier for people to find out more about their doctor's legal and medical background and history. This practice of what's called doctor profiling is supported by the state's medical society and its president, Dr. Joe Heyman. He's at our affiliate in Boston, WHDH-TV. Dr. Heyman, good morning.
Good morning, Brian.
I'm fine, thank you. Starting today, consumers can either call a toll-free number or by the middle of next year log on to the internet to view their doctor's profiles or request they be sent to them. Why are you and your organization supporting something that would seem to be compromising the privacy of your members?
Well, we put patients first here in Massachusetts. This bill is really good for both patients and physicians. It gives patients a great deal of background about physicians in addition to the professional liability settlements. There's information about awards and publications that they've done. There's information about their background, their education. We think that putting the information out there helps everybody. It's fair, it's accurate, and it puts things in an appropriate perspective.
But as we sit here, you don't have the right to know everything, any and everything about your insurance man, your banker, your policeman, your fireman. Why do they have the right to know about you?
Well, first of all, this doesn't list everything about a physician. But what it does do is it gives patients a tool to look at their physician. It doesn't say every complaint that's ever been filed about a physician. It doesn't have it doesn't have information about illnesses or other kinds of personal matters that have to do with a physician. But what it does do is it gives patients a tool, just one tool. It's not the only way to choose a physician. There are much more important ways than that. It gives them a tool.
Well, let me get a second opinion. Surgeon Barbara Rocket is one of many doctors who oppose the state's new measure, and she too is in Boston. Dr. Rocket, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. It's nice to be with you.
Thank you. What's your basic problem with profiling and the new measures that have been adopted?
I think you said it very clearly. We are the only profession that has something like this, and I think this is unfair to physicians, but more than that, it's misleading to patients. It does not give a true picture of the ability of that physician to practice medicine. Very often, those physicians taking on the high-risk patients or the poor-risk patients, they are the ones more likely to be sued, just as obstetricians in this country, over 50% of them are sued more than twice in this country.
Well, let me flip that over, though. If I'm a patient and you're my surgeon, you have life and death control over me, why don't I have the right to know the number of times that you may have been hit with a malpractice suit or what your legal and medical background is?
You could already access this information prior to this bill being filed. But in addition to that, it doesn't tell you the ability of me as a surgeon to be able to operate on you. I have a very clean record. I don't have any malpractice suits, but that doesn't tell you what my ability to take care of you and to give you care is.
Dr. Heyman, what about that? Doesn't profiling have the potential of unfairly penalizing those doctors who may have settled some malpractice claims out of court just to limit their legal costs? I mean, do consumers really have the sophistication to appreciate the nuances that may be contained in these files?
It is a very legitimate concern. We're trying to have an educational program so that patients will understand that this is just one small aspect of a physician's life. It's amazing the fact that obstetrician gynecologists are sued as often as they are. Physicians are always sacrificing for patients, and this is just another sacrifice. Once again, we're putting patients first.
Dr. Rocket, Dr. Heyman seems to think that if and when consumers find something troubling in their doctor's file, that they're going to view that as just one element of their information and come in and talk to their doctor about it. Do you think that's realistic?
No, I don't. As a matter of fact, settlements are often settled because of the fact that insurers find it less costly and that it is less time-consuming. They don't want to go to court, so they do something like this. Lawyers will often do this too. Can you imagine trying to have access to a physician's time and having this physician having to discuss with you what their malpractice suits are? This immediately sets up a barrier. It sets up distrust between the physician and patient. We should be encouraging a physician-patient relationship.
Real quick, Dr. Heyman, to your mind, who's going to be safeguarding these files and their accuracy?
We're doing everything in our power to make certain that those files are accurate. We have an ombudsman here at the Medical Society who will intervene for any physician.
All right. Dr. Joseph Heyman and Dr. Barbara Rocket, thank you both very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you too.
So very much.
It's 47 minutes past the hour. Still coming up on Today, we'll go in the Critics' Corner with Gene Shalit, talk of the new Mel Gibson movie, Ransom. We'll have a look at the best and some of the newest toys in the market for Christmas. And supermodel Claudia Schiffer speaks out on cancer awareness. First, we'll take a break. This is Today on NBC.
On the next Rosie, look out for Baywatch host David Hasselhoff. From Sister Sister, it's Jack Hay. And you remember her from the Partridge Family. It's Susan Day. Plus, Huey Lewis performs live. That's an all-new Rosie O'Donnell show next time.
Today at 3, followed by the Channel 4 News at 4.
Today at 4, chocolate, delectable, delicious, and all yours. From tasty truffles to fresh whipped mousses, we'll show you where you can get the best gourmet chocolate treats. Just for you, today at 4, only on the Channel 4 News.
Circuit City's Veterans Day weekend sale is going on now through Monday, and you'll find savings on the best top brands in every department. Now through Monday, all big screen TVs are on sale. All hi-fi stereo VCRs are on sale too. And all Sony car audio, portable audio, and phones are on sale. Plus, you'll pay no interest for 12 months on all big screen TVs and on all digital satellite systems. Save throughout the store at Circuit City's Veterans Day weekend sale now through Monday.
This tank of gas brought to you by National Car Rental. Now through January, get a tank of gas included with a weekend rental. Ask for the gas and go offer it.
Experience the delight. Experience the delirious. Experience the divine. Bette Midler, live in a special holiday engagement. 2 nights only, December 23rd and 24th at Universal Amphitheater with mermaids, rock and roll, and so much heart and soul. Hear the classic hits. See the classic, what rhymes with hits? Tickets on sale Sunday afternoon at 1 at Ticketmaster's, the box office, or by phone.
The new Mel Gibson movie, Ransom, opens tomorrow, a thriller about a kidnapping. And Gene Shalit says maybe they should have kidnapped more of the cast.
Good morning and welcome to the Critics' Corner. Ron Howard is one of Hollywood's most skillful directors. So when he is armed with such gifted players as Mel Gibson and Gary Sinise, the least you expect is something special. And the least is what you get in Ransom, a new, over-advertised, unsatisfying movie. Now, Gibson is Tom Mullen, a self-made airline tycoon who built his fortune from the ground up and is still living high. A New York penthouse, swanky friends, a fashionable wife, Rene Russo, and a 10-year-old son he adores. Since the movie is called Ransom, somebody's bound to be kidnapped. And sure enough, it's the little boy, bound for a small dark room where he's handcuffed and bound. Then the inevitable phone call comes.
Hello?
Fork over $2 million or else. Or else we'll have a very long movie. Gibson agrees to follow the kidnapper's demands, which means jumping into a swimming pool with all of his clothes on and then driving in 1,000 directions while turning so many U's, the screen looks like a Passover label. Is this supposed to be a suspense movie? There's virtually none. The outcome is obvious. Is it an action movie? There's virtually none, although one man is thrown through a glass starkly. Is it a conflict built on tense dialogue? Well, any talk about this movie may soon be in the past tense. Of the cast, Sinise is convincing as a conniving detective.
Yeah, where were you going? Huh? Whoa, whoa, hey, look at that. You ever seen that before? No? I gonna find your prints on that? No.
Gibson, back to wearing trousers, seems hemmed in by this material. Miss Russo does not have much to do, and that leaves the impressive Delroy Lindo to provide the picture's drama as the passionate and frustrated boss of the FBI team.
And if I were a betting man, I would bet on the people who pay every time out of the gate.
He is trying to guide Gibson to an affirmative answer to the demanding knot of kidnappers, a knot to which Gibson refuses to say yes. This unremarkable picture lacks energy. It arrives at a foregone conclusion, and considering the high quality of the people involved, it is a major disappointment. Ransom does not pay off. And that's the Critics' Corner for this morning. This is Today on NBC.
When I say facts are report to me by 5, I mean 5.
you can kiss that promotion goodbye, Shorty.
Your accountant's on line 1. The audit's next Tuesday.
Your wife's on Tuesday, and where's the dry cleaning? Yeah, where's the dry cleaning?
Life getting a bit overwhelming? Try the simple thrill of an Accord Coupe. From Honda.
Don't let this window of opportunity pass you by. It's the window covering sale at JCPenney. Save on drapes, curtains, sheers, and shades. From classic formals to our new contemporary casuals, JCPenney stores and catalogs sell more window coverings than anyone else. And that covers a lot of ground, not to mention a lot of windows. The window covering sale, now through December 7th.
JCPenney. 21 years from now, and 3,486 bowls of Quaker Instant Oatmeal later, David will be honored as NFL Player of the Year. In a short speech, he will say,
Thanks, Mom.
Quaker Oatmeal. Oh, what those oats can do.
I want fresh-smelling laundry every day, but I don't do laundry every day. That's why I changed to Bounce.
Bounce has special time-release freshness that's slowly released day after day. Bounce. The freshness stays up to 5 days.
While other real estate companies make lots of noise about themselves, at Coldwell Banker, we're busy taking care of you. From supporting your needs to expanding our services, you've been our sole focus for over 90 years. No wonder more than 9 out of 10 of our customers would recommend us to a friend. So for real support, turn to Coldwell Banker. For over 90 years, support you can count on.
You know, I used to hate going through crowded airports. Now it's so easy, quick, and smooth.
Introducing the revolutionary new Easy Cart from Samsonite Brands.
It's a whole new way to travel. Why didn't anybody think of this before?
Designed with a 4-wheel system so you can push it or pull it with the weight off your arms and on the ground for maximum maneuverability.
And this terrific set of shelves keeps the whole family organized.
Make your next trip an easy one with a new Easy Cart from the family of Samsonite Brands. Samsonite, Lark, and American Tourister.
Tonight on The Tonight Show, Jay welcomes friends Matt LeBlanc and the music of Phil Collins. Plus, Jay gets a makeover. And tomorrow, don't miss the return of Kelsey Grammer. And Conan's got David Hasselhoff tonight.
At this year's Mercedes Championships, you could win a La Costa Edition SL 500. Your chances of winning are roughly 1 in a million. Make that 1 in 999,999. See your Southern California Mercedes-Benz dealer for details. Take a test drive and get 2 free tickets to the Mercedes Championships. Don't worry, good weather's expected.
Is it love or statutory rape? Next, Lisa.
Now, Today in L.A. at 7:56 with Kathy Barr.
Good morning, everyone. A live picture from downtown. Clear skies on this Thursday morning. Here's what's happening in the news. Police are looking for 3 men and a woman wanted for a home invasion robbery in Encino Hills overnight. Investigators say the suspects followed a husband and wife to their home. They then took them to a jewelry store that the couple owns in Tarzana. After robbing the store, the suspects then returned to the victim's home and robbed that as well. Much more on that story in our midday report at 11. Right now, weather not as windy today as yesterday, but we still have that high fire danger.
Very high fire danger around Southern California and warmer, too. Good to see you, Southlanders. Here's our live shot from our summit cam. You can see the snow. Most of that's man-made, but snow nonetheless. Look at the numbers. Downtown, 54, 63 in Diamond Bar. It's warming up there. Mojave, 47 degrees. Glendale, 83 for a high, 83 for Norwalk, 86 for Redlands, 85 for Palm Springs. A nice day around Southern California, a bit warm, and it's going to get warmer. 82 downtown today and 86 tomorrow. Back to you, Kathy.
Very nice. Thanks, Christopher. In traffic, we have the second SIG alert of the morning. Here's Paul.
Good news on the 605. That SIG alert is gone now. Catering truck clear, but we have a new SIG alert northbound on the 5, Golden State Freeway right at Roxford. The right lane and the off-ramp are closed down. Injury accident, a vehicle has gone over the side. That continues to clear. And on the Ventura Freeway in the valley, eastbound just before the Hollywood Freeway split. Accident in the number 3 lane, slow traffic. Now back to the 405. Drive carefully. Kathy.
Thanks, Paul. Latinos cast an estimated 13% of the vote in California this week. That is a record high. The Voter Research Institute says 86% of those votes went to President Clinton and other Democrats. All told, there were more than 2 million registered Latino voters in California. The time right now, 7:57. We're back with more in just a moment.
This news update is sponsored by Black Angus USDA Choice New York Steak and all the fixins, $12.99.
Sometimes life's tough, but you get through it with a little perseverance and the help of a good steak. A USDA Choice 3/4 pound New York steak. Warms the belly just to think of it. Hey! Hey! That's better.
Black Angus New York steak with veggies and haystack onion strings, just $12.99.
On Wall Street, the Dow is down now almost 3 points. How would you like to save some money? The Bargain King returns on the midday report at 11.
Announcing the Ross Fall Clearance. New markdowns on women's fall fashions. Save 50 to 70% throughout the store. Better hurry.
Vic is getting out.
Vic is getting out.
Vic's getting out.
Welcome to Vic's world.
I'm loony. Clinically.
If his enemies don't kill him,
You want to hear how you're going to die?
his friends will. Alan Barkin, Gabriel Byrne, Richard Dreyfuss, Jeff Goldblum, and Diane Lane. It's going to be Mad Dog Time.
Running out of people to kill me. Don't look at me, I just ran out of bullets.
Rated R. Starts Friday at select theaters.
Introducing Classico's new roasted peppers and onion pasta sauce. In the Italian hilltop village of Salerno, roasted peppers have been used in homemade pasta sauce for generations. Now new Classico de Salerno, with oven-roasted peppers, tender onions, and vine-ripened tomatoes, lets you enjoy this authentic regional favorite for yourself. Discover Classico's new roasted peppers and onion pasta sauce, and taste the difference authenticity makes.
Are they crooks without a clue? You be the judge tonight at 11.
We're back now. It's 8 o'clock on this Thursday morning. It's the 7th morning of November of '96, and yes, we do have fog today throughout the Northeast. Yes, I guess this fog has rolled in. It's going to stay with us for quite a while, as are the cloudy skies and some of the moisture. Mr. Roker was showing us earlier that we have a huge band of clouds working its way across the Midwest, stretching from north to south, all the way
From Texas all the way up to the Great Lakes.
Man, can we assume that that's going to dump rain on us for the entire weekend?
Yes, probably late tomorrow, right on into Saturday.
You're just full of good news, aren't you?
Well, I try, but it'll give you more time to spend time with family and friends and get to know each other better.
That's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
Back inside here with Katie Kirk, Al Roker, I'm Bryant Gumbel. Since Tuesday's election, we have, of course, talked about the shakeup in the cabinet. We talked about the winners and losers. This morning, we talked about some of the propositions. Now, in this half hour, we're going to get around to the Supreme Court. There are an awful lot of moderates and liberals who are quite distressed about the turn the court has taken. We'll see what changes Bill Clinton might make if and when vacancies become available.
Also, on a very different note, Bryant, we'll begin a two-part report on what's new out there for kids this year in the way of toys, books, and videos for Christmas. We're going to start this morning with toys. And then later in the hour, a story of how two people, one white, one black, are trying to save a plantation that figures in the history of both families.
You're going to show them Ticklin' Elmo?
Well, you go ahead, because you've been having a field day with Elmo.
You got to dig Ticklin' Elmo. Okay, now watch this when you squeeze his belly. Wow! Oh, baby!
Shake it, Elmo. Shake it.
Oh, I'll do that if you squeeze my belly.
Go ahead, Brian. He's all yours.
No. Let's go over the news desk. 8:02. Matt?
Thanks for the transition, Brian. I appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. 2 days after winning re-election, President Clinton this morning is looking at some major cabinet remodeling. Several key members of his cabinet are planning to step down, including Secretary of State Warren Christopher and Defense Secretary William Perry. Some cabinet changes could be announced as early as tomorrow. On Wednesday, the president returned to the White House and told supporters that he is ready to start his new term with high optimism. There is a big change on Capitol Hill in the plans of powerful GOP Senator Alphonse D'Amato. The New York